Colombia is a very diverse nation that I have researched through the past couple weeks, and it has definitely influenced my viewpoint on how culturally um, influenced that this country is, especially with everything surrounding it and its history. Colombia started as a very diverse region with many indigenous tribes encompassing it. It also was a colony of Spain, and it was also another country called Gran Colombia, which contained parts of Peru, all of Venezuela, and Ecuador, and eventually it would break apart, becoming the Colombia we know today. The religious influences are predominantly Roman Catholic, as 92.3% of the country adheres to that faith. And then education literacy rates vary, as literacy rates tend to be 99% from the age group of 15 to 24, while education programs tend to have like lower rates. So 79.5% of people complete lower secondary school, while 84.4% female students complete lower secondary school. Geographic factors is where Colombia really shines, as it has many mountain ranges, including the Santa Marta Mountains, the Andean Ranges, and the Andean Cordillera, which is one of the greatest mountain ranges globally, containing most of the western portion of the country. They also have river valleys, including the Sinu, St. George, and Atlantic lowlands. And they also have the Cauca Valley, which was eventually, which was even known as the province of the Guaranes, due to the abundance of the fish in the region. Health beliefs typically revolve around the flora and the fauna, as they use various herbal teas. They also use marigold, aloe vera, and dandelion as many plants for medicinal purposes. And they use local pharmacists to purchase medication rather than going to actual doctor's offices. Communication style is very high context. They consider pointing to be an aggressive behavior. Instead, they tend to purse their lips when trying to get the attention of someone. And some food habits typically relates to the hot and cold system due to the Spanish influence. Some food habits, primary foods come from a variety of carbohydrates, including potatoes, rice, cassava, and plantains and corn. And more secondary dishes and ingredients depend on the region, which includes beef and poultry, avocados, bananas, pineapple, and coconut milk. And the flavor profile of Colombia closely relates to that of Brazil, in which they utilize hot chili pepper sauces as a side of most dishes, and Spanish influence, especially in the herbs, when they use cumin, parsley, cilantro, and chopped onions for flavoring. A good example is guapi, which is made from fish, plantains, yucca, refrito, coconut water, cilantro, and salt, which kind of all those ingredients showcase the influence of the variety of cultures in the region. The meal patterns typically include 3 different meals with snacks in between lunch and dinner. This would typically include a soup with potatoes, plantains, casanova, and coffee is a common beverage in the afternoon. Some common preparation methods definitely start with grilling, especially in picada colombiana, which has a lot of proteins in it, like pork, chicken, beef, or blood sausages. Roasting is also especially popular. They don't use earth pits anymore. They utilize aluminum pots. And fried food, especially aborrajado, which is a dish that's a fried plantain stuffed with cheese. They also have a bunch of traditional foods for special occasions, like sancocho, especially during El Paso de Ola, which is basically a stew that contains chicken, beef, or pork rib. Uh, Catholic traditions such as Christmas and Easter's Holy Week, especially prevalent with desserts such as dulce de leche, which is a common dessert with cow's milk, sugar, and rice. And lastly, Santa Cementa, a popular dish is potage de vegetada, which is a popular dish consumed as it's not containing with any red meat or poultry. Some common dining etiquette follows the European-like fashion. And an interesting fact is when you completed your meal, you should place silver across the plate horizontally. Some historical preservation methods include pickling, salting, frying, smoking, and drying. Salting is very interesting, especially with the high prevalence of bug consumption or insect consumption in the country, especially in hormigas colones. Some health factors include increased rates of obesity, type 2 diabetes, and high blood pressure just due to the amount of westernized foods entering the country, especially saturated fats. Food habits related to these health diseases, including cerebrovascular diseases, which include strokes due to that overconsumption of salt, and iron deficiency anemia, as pregnant women tend to not have access to proper supplements and they don't consume lots of meats because it's considered a hot food. Just some acceptable foods to be encouraged is a lot of superfruits in the country, such as aguaje and cocoa seeds. Aguaje, especially, since it has 3 times the amount of vitamin A as normal carrots. And foods that should not be encouraged just kind of goes inside with the American cuisine. They have especially fried foods has become popular. Again, access to more saturated fats and sugars causes higher obesity rates, which affects 50% of the country. And lowering the intake of alcohol and sweetened drinks can also improve the health of many Colombian citizens, as sweetened drinks has a direct relationship to childhood obesity. When they come to the United States, their food habits tend to change, especially when some products become unappealing, like koi, which is a guinea pig raised for meat in Colombia. Thank you for taking the time to go through Colombia with me, as researching this country has definitely opened my eyes to see how many influences one country can have from various areas of the world. And I hope to continue using Colombian techniques in my own cooking.